The Mind-Controlled State. By Philip Jones. 1068. The 20th of May, 1999, T.J. Solomon, a 15-year-old at Heritage High School in Conyers, GA, was being treated with Ritalin for depression when he opened fire on and wounded 6 classmates. A report published by the Danish Lægemiddelstyrelsen states that in Denmark and the other Nordic lands, consumption and the number of people treated with antidepressants has been increasing since 1994 and continues to grow strongly. The increase in the consumption of the newer antidepressants is both because there are more people in treatment, but also that larger doses are being prescribed. The most preferred preparation for the treatment of depression in the year 2003 were products containing the substances citalopram and escitalopram. Table 4. Number of people treated with newer antidepressants, 1994 to 2003. This trend is now global in dimension, and what is especially concerning is how children are being increasingly prescribed Ritalin and the plethora of other antidepressants. Along with Ritalin, other copycat drugs have been produced to exploit the obsession, and the calculated agenda, of drugging the young. These include Adderall, Concerta Metadot CD, Ritalin La, Focalin and Strattera, atomoxetine. The Bush family-connected Eli Lilly pharmaceutical giant is heavily involved in this despicable program of legalized child abuse. Another drug being given to children is Risperdal, which was used on political prisoners in the Soviet Union to extract information. David Healy, a leading psychopharmacology expert and professor of psychiatry at Cardiff University in Wales, said, "People who took Risperdal would tell anything to anyone. When you think about giving these drugs to kids, it's a whole new ball game." All of these drugs have similar effects to speed and cocaine. These are, of course, illegal, and yet drug companies and their cronies, so-called doctors, are quite legally giving them to children like candy at a Halloween trick-or-treat. The manufactured necessity promoted by the drug cartel in order to trigger this explosion of prescribing antidepressant drugs, particularly to children, is a condition called attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD. But there is now gathering evidence that these drugs don't even work on the condition they are claiming to treat, and there is much expert and experienced opinion that says there is no such thing as attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. This then makes us wonder, so if they don't work and the condition is erroneous, what is the agenda behind the prescribing of these drugs in such large quantities to children and adults? The main purpose of all this is the suppression of both the intellect and the individual's ability to recognize fact from fiction and truth from lies, and to be able to react and respond cognitively to a given situation. This opens up a person, particularly a child, to a whole world of mass mind control possibilities. The conspiracy for global control is targeting everyone in this regard, but, of course, their prime focus is children and young people, because they are going to be the adults when the structure of planned world tyranny is in place. They know, too, that the effect of what they are doing is cumulative, and so by the time the young become adults, their minds will be screwed up to a far greater extent than they are now. The use of these drugs is part of a concerted war against the population, and it is no coincidence that people have so been targeted with massive electrochemical attacks. These come through the additives in food and drink, together with the effects of the electromagnetic and microwave smog in which we are now forced to live, by electromagnetic technology, mobile phones, and so on. Research has proved time and again that there is a clear link between food and drink additives and hyperactive behavior in children. One such research document published in September 2007 came to the below conclusions. The behavior patterns caused by the chemical cocktails found in food and drink included hyperactive and compulsive behavior, causing the children to become boisterous and lose concentration, and not being able to play with one toy or complete a single task. Is it pure coincidence that the pharmaceuticals and their bought and paid for healthcare professionals tell us that the symptoms of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder that must be treated with Ritalin and the like are 1. Difficulty concentrating and keeping attention on tasks or play activities. 2. Will not follow instructions and fail to finish schoolwork, jobs or activities. 3. Easily distracted. 4. Trouble playing or enjoying leisure activities quietly. 5. Hyperactivity. 6. Exhibit impulsive and compulsive behavior. The exact same behavior symptoms of children in an official additives trial and those given these mind-altering drugs like Ritalin for behavior disorder are the same. No wonder, then, that the astonishing rise in the use of these drugs has followed the astonishing rise in the chemical additives in food and drink, even without the electromagnetic effects on behavior. The plan has been to destabilize people physically, mentally and emotionally, weakening their resistance to suggestion via the above-cited methods including education, the media and the use of new technology, in order to deal with those who still won't be programmed and who behave and perceive life and situations differently from the herd. They now developed a chemical failsafe of diagnosing attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and dosing those so diagnosed with these drugs. What the system has done, in full awareness at the conspiratorial level, is to purposely structure society, education, the chemicals in food and drink, etc., to close down vast tracts of the corpus callosum to suppress the scale of communication between the hemispheres, while programming the population, especially children, to see life overwhelmingly through the left brain. This is one key reason why science has not understood the nature of life and reality. It is populated by left-brainers who can't perceive beyond their university-indoctrinated reality. Therefore, they are obsessed with, and blinkered by, the realm of the material. It is similarly the case with doctors, teachers, politicians and other gatekeepers of the system. They go through the educational mincemeat machine and take their mind-controlled places in positions of power and influence with their right brain under lock and key. This article essay, although primarily written with Denmark in mind, is also applicable to the full complement of Western nations in this first decade of the 21st century. But due to the nature, existing culture and character of the people of this small country and the application of a deliberate and sophisticated experiment aimed at the mass indoctrination of its entire population, success rates have surpassed elsewhere, where comparable results have only been achieved by utilizing coercive force. With the use of a complex array of ideologies, techniques and scams, the Dane has been programmed into a state of illusory reality, delusion, denial and compliance by a conspiracy so devious and diabolical, that when the individual is presented with it, he or she suffers from an automatic response mechanism which creates confusion, refusal to acknowledge the facts and often open hostility to the messenger of those facts, installed by the above means through a welfare state which under the guise of a cradle-to-grave security apparatus, has deliberately and with malice aforethought weakened and undermined the Dane's ability to think for his/herself by installing a sense of virtual reality in the collective national consciousness. As I have written above, all the nations of the West have been and are being subjected to programs intended to produce a similar effect. What makes Denmark in particular and the other Nordic lands generally different is the people's complete and comprehensively programmed sense of blind faith in their respective regimes. It should be emphasized that there are those in Denmark who since the false flag psyop of 9/11 are beginning to look through the web of deceit and have begun to extricate themselves from the hive. One might ask, where is the harm? Danes seem to have it good compared to many places and the standard of living is still above the average. But when a whole people either consciously or not take their eye off their country's political football and allow their politicians to step by step, drip by drip, take more and more of their personal decision-making away from them and at the same time indoctrinate that populace with a particular dogma and ideology, it becomes only a matter of time before the politicians stop even the democratic charade of asking what the people think and assume complete control over their micromanaged lives, installing the dictatorship in the process. As the British journalist Bell Mooney wrote in the London Daily Mail, "Make no mistake, totalitarianism creeps up on you. One minute you think you live in a free society and then you turn your back and, hey presto, another little rule, a fresh directive, a sneaky law, an insidious diktat, all of them putting up prison bars through which we have to view the world." Or to quote Krishnamurti, "It is not a sign of good health to be well adjusted to a sick society." End of story. Thanks for watching. Maybe you can use it. Remember, thoughts are free. Anonymous Northern Light.